Live at World of Wellness. This is Wellness Week number 102. And I'm your host this week, Jamie Dorley, with the co-host, the one and only, the godfather of nutrition, Joe Messino. How we doing, Joe?
Hey, we are fired up. And here we are with Dr. Len because this is the longest running episodic duo or trio healthy talk show on the air today. All channels.
And we're so excited. We have the Wellness Week. We're live, so we have people here throughout the facility. We got the organic food truck, Mr. Z, out front. We have the incredible Louis Vuitton free swag wellness bags. That got Len's attention, Louis Vuitton, of course. We have samples throughout. We got the smoothies. We're going to do the smoothie video at 1 o'clock today. We got literature. We got people to help you. And we have the recovery room, which is fantastic. What's your favorite thing, Joe, in the recovery room?
It keeps expanding. I mean, we have an infrared sauna in there. I love the Normatec boots, give you a new set of legs. And I have to get on that vibrating cup. I haven't done that yet.
I figured that would be one you like the most.
So lymphatic
drainage, really high tech. It's able to help you with weight loss, any swelling throughout the body. And these are all free this week.
Mm-hmm.
We want to have a nice wellness experience. And we're doing some unique testing this week too, including a LEGO scan. So give us a quick overview on that.
Yeah, we did some on Saturday. We're going to do some more today. The LEGO scan is the only device out there, non-invasive, that actually gives you tissue density of toxins, heavy metals, minerals, and vitamins.
So we're excited today. We had Dr. O at 11. We have the round table now at 12. We're going to talk about healthy aging. As I learned years ago, you have to get older, but you don't have to grow up and you don't have to age. So we're going to have the expert on here. And at 1 o'clock, we're going to go to the bar. Is the bar open?
The bar is always open. Bobby.
I'm going to break out some new smoothie recipes, or I call them protein shakes. So before we do that, let's jump right in. He's been a mentor of mine and yours. He was original part of the Asta Pharmacy Group in Pittsburgh, PA. He ran out in Rochester, down in Bridgeville, and Oakmont, Wexford. Then he stopped in Peachtree City on the way down to Florida. And now he's in the homeland, the Tampa area. It's his version of retirement. If we could all be so lucky to retire like this guy, I'll tell you what.
I'm going to retire down there with him, I think.
I'm on the way. I'm going this week for a little extra taste again. He's been a fantastic speaker on the Nutritional Frontiers team for, I think the last 10 years. Right. And he's done an incredible job helping out our educational sales professionals in the field and joining us at the World of Wellness. And he was one of the keynote speakers at our professional training event, Practice What You Preach at the Beach. So the one and only Dr. Len Brancewicz. Welcome back, Dr. Len. How we doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's good to see you all. And let me just say this, first of all. I wanted to take this as an opportunity to say again, congratulations on so many years of growth. Between Joe and myself, I think we've been around with you the longest, going back to almost to the days when you were at school in Slippery Rock and all the days with Metagenics and everything else. And we won't talk about when you were at school at Slippery Rock, but anyway, it was encouraging to me to hear two things that you told me, Jamie, way back in the day. You said, I have a goal. I have a goal out here, and I want your opinion on this. And I said, what's that? He said, I want to make the world healthy. I said, really? I said, that's a rather haughty goal here. He says, yeah, but if we do it one at a time, and one tells another, and two tell four, four tells eight, and it spreads like that, we can make the world healthier. I said, I think you can do that. And then you said, can we actually develop a made in America product line that would take about 90 to 95% of everything a practitioner would need to get the job done? And I said, yeah, if you stick to American made. And I said, that's a really good goal. And I said, it's going to take some time and it's going to take effort and people together to design these products and come up with it, but you can do it. And guess what? You did it. And you're making the world healthy. And I think that is like amazing. And the product line now, I got to say this, coming from my background in pharmacy, and again, maybe I'm a little prejudiced here because I do use the products myself, but I don't know of any manufacturer. I mean, there's a lot of good ones out there, but I don't know of any company, any manufacturer that has done this. And with the idea that it's one thing to sell products, it's another thing to teach. And that's where I got involved. And it's been a thrilling part of me to be able to get out and teach other practitioners how to use these things and use them properly and to help people. That's the ultimate goal here. So congratulations on another big anniversary, and keep moving ahead, man. It's been a good thing. It's been a good ride, but it's only just begun.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Len. That means a lot coming from you. And, here we are 15 years later. And, I was told recently that the overnight sensation takes 20 years. So we are getting closer. And we are excited that we feel like we just started with the new team and, the new direction we're going in. And all the big companies have gone direct and have sold.
Word, James? Evolve, evolution.
Yes. We are continue to evolve. And I appreciate your support with my vision, even though some people told me I was crazy. It would never work.
That has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah, we know that, right? That's why you would think of such a big goal, right? But yeah, now when we see it one person at a time, there's somebody just asked me about Parkinson's, and I said, hey, here's the Parkinson's video, right?
Yep.
You've dealt with people with depression, GI problems, cancer, immune, diabetes, obesity, pain, sleep, stress, you name it, you've dealt with it. And that's really the most fulfilling part, is that we're able to actually help people. And now I can feel the momentum spreading because when people have the confidence, they share with other people. So, Joe?
Yeah, and then the journey that this company has been on, Len, you've been a big part of it, obviously, and I just love when Len talks to, like he said, other doctors, because his language, he talks their language, right? I mean, anytime the word prep always comes to my mind, because Len, when he likes a formula, he goes, "This prep from Nutritional Frontiers," and it's like there's that background coming through, right? That pharmacy background coming through. But you know what? It's language they understand, and that's what makes the difference. We have their peers with them, training them, educating them. And that's the difference, because, if you don't do it through education, Len, you've seen it all these years, right? With companies come and go, people come and go, executives, salespeople come and go, whatever. But that's because all they did was focus on the products, not on the education.
And even to the public. I mean, how you're doing this show every Monday, the two of you, and you joke about it. It's been the longest running. It has been. But to be able to not just be, this isn't balance of nature. You're not coming out just, mass producing a product. You're coming in with education here again. You're coming out saying, tune in every week and you're going to learn something. You're going to learn something new every single week. You're going to get, just like what we're doing right now. We're going to try to teach people a message, something that they can learn, something they can apply. And I think that's critical.
Yeah, we're excited that you're bringing today, some really great solutions on healthy aging or anti-aging that you shared with, I believe, about 29 healthcare professionals recently down in Peachtree City. So thanks for being so generous. So let's jump right in, because I know you have a lot to cover.
Yeah, I want to do this. And again, when we talk about aging, there's all kind of different cosmetic things, and, women are out there buying all this stuff to stop crepey skin and all these different things. I'm talking about, aging is a result of a lot of changes that take place in our body. And if we understand as we get older, some of these things are controllable factors. I'm just going to give you a few just headlines. I wrote this original seminar in 2019. Okay, so 4 years ago. You'd be astounded because, Jamie, you used one of these numbers in the Tampa event. And just since you did the Tampa event, some things have changed. U.S. has dropped to 11th in the world in life expectancy. We used that number at the Tampa event. Okay, just this week, it's come out again. We were 11th in life expectancy. We're now, you ready? 51st.
Oh.
We've dropped from 11th to 51st in the world. So right now, there are 50 other countries where if you were, you would live longer. Why? Because we're not as healthy. Listen to this. We now lead the world in all chronic degenerative cardiovascular, asthma, autoimmune, allergies, depression, and mental illness. Number one. Okay. We lead the world in all forms of cancer, except for 2, lung and cervical.
Mhm.
We lead the world in osteoporosis. We lead the world in obesity. ADD, wrote this in 2019, was up 311% in 2019. It's now up 512%.
Len, that's not even recognized as a disease state in Europe.
I know. It's just a very common thing. Listen to this, autism. 200 cases were documented in 1970. 200. That's it in all of the United States. 2019, 1 out of 150 births. 2023, 1 out of 30. That's just astounding to me.
That's astounding. And you know what else, Len? The other day when we had Dr. Bob here, he educated us, and I learned a new statistic that now in 22 states in the United States, 22 out of 50, cancer is now the leading cause of death, not heart disease.
Isn't it amazing?
That coincides with what you just said.
And listen to this one. Something as simple as acne. 18% of 12 to 24-year-olds in 1950. Now in 2023, 85% of all teenagers get acne. 235,000 RXs for antidepressants in 2019. This past year, 427,000 prescriptions for antidepressants in kids.
Wow.
Childhood cancer at an all-time high. So I wanted to look at this, and this is what we talked about in that seminar, is if these are the things.
I apologize. I'm being paid. There's a lot of people that need my help, so you guys will take
Sure,
it.
we got
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Thanks, Doc. I'll see
All right, talk to you soon. All right, so, when we look and say, okay, you can't stop the clock. You just had a birthday not long ago, Joe. We can't stop that. That chronological clock keeps going forward. But again, it was astounding to me that, when people saw you and we had your birthday party on a pirate ship and we're having a party, I watched the crowd. And when they finally asked you, well, how old are you now? And you told everybody, they said, nah, come on.
Should I tell everybody again? Should I tell them again?
Tell them again.
Tell them again. 68.
Yeah, and I'm 71.
Or as we like to call it, 5018.
It's wonderful. So here it is. I'm going to go through these pretty quick. And not only am I going to go through these quickly, but I'm going to give you the products of choice. Okay, so here's the list. Delaying the onset of aging. In other words, I want to stay healthy. Number 1, chronic inflammation. Number 2, glycation. Number 3, DNA mutation. I'm going to go through these individually. Okay. Number 1, chronic inflammation. I called it who started the fire? An epidemic of outward inflammatory diseases. This is where SPMs have really surfaced as one of the most powerful and most researched anti-inflammatories that there are. Ironically, the fact that I broke ribs back in December. Yes. 2 ribs, number 3 and number 12. And if it wasn't for SPMs, I probably would be just laid up. I mean, they literally helped me not only stop the pain, but help the healing process that in 2 weeks, those ribs were healed. Well, just this past week, I was lifting boxes, we're moving, doing all these things. I inflamed those 2 ribs again. And 2 nights ago, I was laid up in bed. My wife says, did you forget about SPMs again? So I started taking them at a relatively high dose, 2 capsules 3 times a day. And I am now pain-free and back to complete normality. So when we look at this and say chronic inflammation is the root of all disease, period.
Right. And that is called, these are called SPMs. There's some people here in the audience. Want to make sure you understand what that is. SPM. It stands for Specialized Pro-Resolving Mediators. These are the most powerful systemic anti-inflammatories that we've ever seen in this market.
Now, keeping in mind, the body, as God created our bodies, makes pro-inflammatory mediators. We make those. And they actually are part of an inflammatory cascade. You get a cold, you get the flu, you run a fever. It's part of the body making the body hot to try to kill off that bacteria. We hurt a joint. It gets warm. It gets inflamed. the body is producing certain things. The specialized pro-resolving mediators are enzymatically made from fish oil. It's a specific reaction that took place that took EPA and DHA and made the chemical structure change to the point where it interfered and got in and blocked a specific pain mediator, an inflammatory mediator in the human body. Amazingly powerful. I just talked to a young lady that just had cataract surgery, is running in a world of problems, inflammation in the eye, starting her on SPMs. I had a gal a couple days ago that had an outbreak of rosacea on her face. Her face was bright red. We added SPMs and a little bit of a betazyme, the digestive enzymes, rosacea under control in 2 weeks. It's literally amazing to me. Now, I just also want to mention the other inflammatory products that Nutritional Frontiers have: X-Flame, HA+, and I'm actually putting buffered C into this as well. If we alkalize the body, we can reduce inflammation. So there's a number of different products. That X-Flame comes in a powdered form as well, as does the HA+. Again, feed the joints, reduce inflammation. That's number one. Number two is glycation. I call it the super glue. It's what happens when glucose, blood sugar, gets rusty. Or I guess the analogy is if we look at cooking a steak at Ruth Chris Steakhouse. You know, it's that marbled effect where they added sugar to the diet of the cows, put the marbling in there, put it on the grill. The grill glycates that sugar that's in the fat stores, and it becomes sweet, and the steak tastes better. That same thing can happen with us. It's probably the number one link to what's called senile dementia. Now, I don't know if you read the news this past week. Large genetic changes that contribute to dementia risk identified. This come out of the Michael J. Fox research work, and it said it's groundbreaking studies that said, can we now get involved in identifying some of the risk factors for Parkinson's? And they said, after all these years of research, they found that if we took a 30-year-old that had the genetic link, maybe dad had Parkinson's, and we're going to be able to do something here. We're going to be able to do a spinal tap, and we can identify specific inflammatory markers in the spinal fluid. In the spinal fluid, one of those happens to be, it's called oligosaccharides that can be isolated. And that is part of the pathway that SPMs actually help to block. So they go on to say, research is now unraveling intricate genetic architectural studies in neurodegenerative diseases are resulting in significant advances in scientific understanding. So the Michael J. Fox group said, yeah, glycation is part of that problem. It glycates those areas of the brain that need to be controlled for movement. So could we go in there, and I'm just going to give you some ideas. And if anybody has seen the videos that were recorded dealing with Parkinson's, we use a specific form of high-dose CoQ10, coenzyme Q10. I also put into this the SPMs. I also put in this dimethylglycine, the NR-DMG, that when we use a methyl donator like NR-DMG a couple times a day, you can reduce glycation problems within the body. So if somebody's in that mode of a stiffening arterial system, non-functioning as they should be, we can actually block protein molecules from binding to glucose molecules in the human body by using that kind of an approach, CoQ10, DMG, and even putting in numbers of other entities that can actually block.
Well, then, you know, that's why as you said, a specialized form, CoQ10, DMG, we have that available in one chewable tablet.
Yep.
So this is it's called Enter CoQ10, and it is 300 milligrams of CoQ10 and 300 milligrams of DMG in one chewable tablet. Great absorption into the body because it's chewable, water miscible through the saliva, getting it into the bloodstream. And anytime, you know, it's funny, the CoQ10 Perlmutter's Parkinson's protocol, but adding DMG to it, it just changed the game, because the fact that DMG, when you add it to other substances, because of its ability to increase oxygen utilization, it increases the uptake of all other nutrients you combine it with. And that made it powerful.
You know, for everybody that's listening to this. I think the crucial factor here is just to listen to the takeaway messages here. There are certain things that happen in the body. You want to reduce inflammation. You want to stop any kind of problem with glycation. Why do we bring that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. What'd you say, Len?
My screen just disappeared.
Oh, you're there. You're still there with us.
Okay, there we are. I'm back. Okay. But anyway, glycation, with the high rates of diabetes in this country, this gets to be a chronic problem. So again, can we get involved if somebody's pre-diabetic? Now, part 3 of this is DNA mutations. Now, you say, what are you talking about, Len? You mean you can literally go in there and change a person's DNA? Again,
you think anything like that happened the last couple of years? Huh.
Yeah. Look at that Alzheimer's report that came out from Michael J. Fox that said we started out with a number of people that had the DNA link to Parkinson's. So can we literally go in and stop DNA from changing? Can we stop cells from proliferating out of control? What happens when DNA starts cells proliferating out of control? It's called cancer. Can we get involved in the anti-aging capacity to be able to make a change? Now, I'm going to put in 2 of the things that we talked about before, enter DMG and CoQ10. As Joe said, those items have been put together in one that can make a difference. Now, I added to this the proline greens, and I'm going to ask Joe to talk a little bit about that and Emotion. And lastly, the ultimate shake. The new name for the power cleanse. Right. A wonderful combination that if you can do that, if we're concerned about the genetic link to cancer, the genetic link to Parkinson's, the genetic link to diabetes, can somebody get involved right now and say, you know what, just because mom or dad had that, I don't want to. And I can go in and stabilize my DNA so that I don't have to go that route.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you know what the bottom line here is? We've known this. Dr. Weiner was a proponent of this. You are. When you feed the body what it needs, it has an incredible ability to heal. We don't heal anyone. No one heals anyone else. The body does all the healing, which is what brings us to these 2 preps, the ultimate shake and the lean greens. Why? Because between the 2 of them, you will feed the body. When we put them together into one shake, you are delivering the 90 essential nutrients that we need on a regular basis. Now, this is a very important point because we're not getting it from our food. Okay, we're gaining weight, but we're not nutritionally healthy. We're starving nutritionally because we can't get these nutrients from our food anymore. The lean greens we've had for a long time, but we just recently improved it, upgraded it, gave it a whole new powerful approach in the form of this Emotion. Now, that's a long word. Probably most people don't know what it means. It's a bioavailable form of glutathione. It's patented, it's researched, it's trademarked, and it has the studies to show that it will increase glutathione in the body, your body's master antioxidant, by 144% over regular glutathione or N-acetylcysteine, which is the precursor, one of the precursors, along with Len's favorite supplement, vitamin C. You take vitamin C and NAC, and that gives your body what it needs to make glutathione. And Len, I saw many, many studies that show that the people over the last 3 years that got the sickest were the ones who had the lowest glutathione level.
Amen. And when you look at brain functionality and Alzheimer's and dementia, it's again, our body, as God created it, stores the greatest amount of glutathione in our brain, second highest in our lungs. So if you're an asthmatic, would it not make more sense to try to boost glutathione levels? Or we take it a key down further than that. The reason I take it every day, kidney issues. Chronic kidney disease is at an all-time high in this country. People call, say, what do you got for chronic kidney disease? Proline greens is a good place to start. Build the glutathione levels up, add some NAC to that as well, and you can start getting improvement in kidney functionality. All right, number four on our list. Here's another big word, maybe difficult to understand, mitochondrial energy depletion. Those little powerhouse engines inside of every cell in our body. What happens when we run on empty? Oh, we can have things like congestive heart failure, muscle weakness, fatigue, neuropathy, neurological pain, Parkinson's, and the list goes on.
So, and this is energy, right? And
Exactly.
when you shut off the energy to a machine, the machine shuts down. And that's what happens to every system in your body. One by one, it'll systematically start to shut down.
Now, again, we're going back. Now, this is the third time in a row that we're going to talk about that coenzyme Q10 and dimethylglycine prep. Again, energizing the mitochondria. Now, I'm also adding to this one power fuel. I want to talk about that for a minute, Joe, because that D-ribose that's in there directly goes to the mitochondrial energy production of ATP that takes place in every cell in our body. You want to get re-energized? You want to fix the energy levels inside of the powerhouses inside of our body? That's a great way to start. CoQ10, dimethylglycine, power fuel, and the ultimate shake is what I have on the list that can actually make a big difference right there.
Yeah, and with Power Fuel, it actually has CoQ10 in it. It actually has DMG in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it has, of course, as Dr. Len said, D-ribose, but it also has L-carnitine. Now, this is important because Dr. Steven Sinatra's original trio of nutrients for absolute maximum heart health were D-ribose, CoQ10, and L-carnitine, because they all produce or deliver energy into the heart, and all three from different pathways. So it's all about getting that, as Len said, the energy, the mitochondria, making sure that cell, the powerhouse engine, is working. And this formula, Power Fuel, was designed originally as a mitochondrial repair formula.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then over the years, as we usually do, we improved it, added a nitric oxide component with citrulline and arginine. And then we also added an electrolyte component because most people are dehydrated and mineral deficient.
When we've seen the effects that this has had on people that may have had a heart attack, and they do a test called an ejection fraction, which is the heart strength, its pumping activity, and how well can it do that. And basically, doctors will say, once we've lit that fuse where the ejection fraction starts to go down and down and down, there's nothing you can do. You're basically just a matter of time. Where we've gone in with this form of D-ribose and the power fuel and start going directly to the heart muscle, directly to the mitochondria in the heart muscle, and start building that up. I've actually had one fellow that was at 19% ejection fraction. We took him back. It took a year. We took him back to 60%, which is 100% in pure terms. 60 is as high as you can go. Took him back to 60% ejection fraction in a year. Doctors were astounded that you could actually recover the functionality of a heart muscle.
Feed it. Give it what it needs.
Number 5. Right. Now, I kept this one separate from the others, even though we've talked about it, but it's called a methylation deficit. It says basically, again, I'm not methylating properly. And the reason I put it separately is as we age, every single year, when Joe went from 29 to 30, from 30 to 31, we make less methyl groups. So
was that a long time ago?
Get into your 60s, it gets very difficult. So this leads to things such as cancer, liver damage, brain cell destruction. So you think about that, and you think about the risk factors for dementia and Alzheimer's in building glutathione levels. Here's what I put on this list: dimethylglycine again in CoQ10. It showed up again. That's the 4th time in a row. But I want to talk here, Joe, about the multis. There's the Frontier multi, there's the one for men, and there's the one for women. And again, you can pick one for yourself. They all deliver methyl groups in the right form at the right dose when you're taking a multi.
Yeah, absolutely. You can pick, we started with the Frontier multi. That was our flagship multivitamin mineral. And it always had extra nutrients, antioxidants, green food, just loaded. And it's in a capsule, of course, not in a tablet. I mean, this is a real food multivitamin mineral formulation. But then a couple of things happened. Number one, for years we were trying to design a childbearing years or a prenatal formula for women. And it started out as a prenatal, then it went to childbearing years, then it went to complete, women's complete. And it is. It's for everyone and I call it men's to men's, Len, menstruation to menopause. Every woman will benefit from this because we put in there nutrients specific to women. Good probiotic activity, good green food, the methylated Bs, specifically B12 and folate, because at least 45% of the population has a genetic SNP where they do not absorb folic acid. And if you take folic acid that's not this highly methylated form, it actually does the opposite and can have a poisonous effect in the body.
Amen.
So we use this spore-based probiotic in the formulation for women. And this is Nature's probiotic. It's a patented, research, trademarked form of probiotics called Lactospore. It's in there. Now, how often do you see a multivitamin mineral with probiotics and green food in it?
You just don't. Exactly.
You just don't. No.
Exactly. Number 6 on our list.
For the men, Len, we did the same thing. We added extra heart support. Now, this is a multivitamin, folks, but it has 100 milligrams of CoQ10 in it. That's unheard of in this industry. It also has nitric oxide components. It also has extra heart health and prostate health components. So it is specific for men. Now you can pick from those three, pick one that suits you the best.
Amen. Number 6 on our list, fatty acid imbalance. You know, we all heard this before. It's the obesity epidemic in this country is by just consuming too many trans fats and too many saturated fats. Well, it's time for an oil change. Keeping in mind that fatty acids, EPA and DHA, are essential to maintain cell energy output. Again, aging causes alterations in our capability to digest and assimilate these things properly. That results in irregular heartbeat, arrhythmias, joint destruction, low energy, hypercoagulation, and crepey skin. Boy, we see all these commercials on TV for this. So again, in this category, I put all 3 of the important fish oils, the omega-3D, the SPMs, and I added this one this time, toninline, which is the CLA prep. I like that one in particular because when we're having bad diet and we tended to put on a few extra pounds, using CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, therapeutically, I use 2 twice a day, can make a difference. It can start to displace some of that stored fat in our visceral fat and actually help you in the starts of a weight loss plan. So omega-3D and, again, the SPMs falling into this category that can make a big difference.
Yeah, it's absolutely. The omega-3D was one of the first of its kind to actually deliver 900 milligrams of EPA DHA, per soft gel. And we all know that the therapeutic levels of EPA DHA that you need for most, dis-ease states is between, 2 and 4 grams of omega-3s. So you get that with 2 of these soft gels twice a day. So that's our goal was to make it a therapeutic omega-3 formulation.
Number 7, hormonal imbalance. We hear about this all the time, both for men and women. Now, men typically get shuffled to the side, and we take a look oftentimes at a woman's hormones, from the time of menstruation through menopause, and we try to get a balancing act there. But again, if you don't get the balance, I said attend the symphony and get these things balanced correctly. Understanding that hormones can synchronize the function of, listen to this, all chemical signals in the body. It's that important. Can lead to depression, osteoporosis, coronary artery disease, loss of libido. And again, there's saliva testing, all kind of ways to actually check the levels out. But again, in this category, depending on the need, I put 3 preps, Joe. Estro cleanse, the testo prep, and liver support. It's a critical factor to put that live complete in there to make sure that the liver can do this and assist in the conversion and the proper levels of hormones in the body.
Wow, that is a great point because, I think there's always a missing piece to the puzzle. And sometimes, this is what with hormone health, let's just call it hormone health in this country. HRT, hormone replacement therapy, is such a huge business. And even when they're doing bioidenticals, it's still replacing it. It's not stimulating the production of it, which is what we want to try to do. And adding that component of Live Complete is so important. And Len, take us back to that one presentation that you and I did when you showed that slide of estrogens, non-conjugated estrogens that are reabsorbed back into the gut.
Yeah.
Right. No, and this is why you got to include the gut and liver in this protocol.
It was called the estrobolome, and we hadn't heard that term before. We're gonna have to do that one again. We need to. That was such a good prep.
It was
good presentation. That was good. Next on the list, immune dysfunction. I call this chasing your tail. The aging body loses the ability to attack bacteria and viruses. Excess cytokines are produced to cause the immune system to turn on its host. Can create autoimmune issues, etc., rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, etc. And again, as we get older, as we age, you see the catastrophe that took place even in the COVID world. Now here I put into this category SPMs. Why? Because if you do your research and you look up SPM COVID, SPM flu, you're going to see various tiers whereby lowering inflammation in the body, our own immune system took care of the problem.
Well, that's on PubMed, right? If you go to PubMed, everybody, pubmed.gov.
Yeah.
And put those two words in the search.
Buffered C in here. And Joe, I want you to just mention, I think everybody, even though we're coming into summer, still need to have an immune kit on hand just in case, because we're still seeing little pop-ups of upper respiratory things going on this time of year.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, Len, because I think the biggest mistake people make with their immune system is they only address it in the winter. Your immune system never stops working. It has to be fortified throughout the year on a regular basis so that when you need it, it's strong. Don't wait. You wait till something happens, it's too late. So the immune system, allergy seasons, that's an immune dysfunction. Okay. Everything that happens from a cold to full-blown pneumonia to allergies is an immune dysfunction. Address your immune system all year round, and you don't have to worry about it in those times.
And that immune kit is one thing you can keep aside. And if people say, well, how do you use it? I said, you know what? If one of your kids come down with something, tell them to take one of each.
Hey, Dr. Phil, would you grab one of those immune kits for me? Bring it over. Thank you.
Yeah, I want you to show this to people because the beauty of this, it was put everything together in one kit, which is wonderful. So it's so simplistic.
There it is. There you go.
It's a wonderful prep, and it was put together in such a way that not only do you save money because you're getting all these different preps put together, but it's something that you don't have to second guess things. You've got it, pull it out at the times when we need it, and take it and make sure that you maintain your immune system.
Now, the beauty of this kit is that you can take it prophylactically all year round, right? Minimum doses, one a day, just one a day of the zinc, one a day of the quercetin, one a day of the buffered C, D3, and so on. Just take it on a regular basis. That's giving you what your immune system, what it needs, so that when the season comes, you don't have to worry about it. Now, should something happen, then you go up to therapeutic levels. So from one a day, you go to four a day of each one of these. Okay. And you will lessen the time and recover a lot faster. So this has multiple uses. You can get a kit to have the whole family take one a day every day. And you won't have to worry about it come cold and flu season or D3D season. That's D3 deficiency season.
We got 3 more to go, Joe. We'll get these in before the time is up. Whatever the number is, excitotoxicity, or the fireworks. The aging brain loses control of its release of neurotransmitters. Glutamate levels go up. We heard of all the different things that happen by the Chinese food and MSG causing all kind of complications. And dopamine levels get off balance. This is the work of Dr. Russell Blaylock that said some of the excitotoxins that we take in from the environment, from the water, from the air, from even bad foods can interfere. So in this category, I put in calm day, sleep time, brain support, and mood lift. So I put together 4. Now, that doesn't mean you need to take all 4. But again, when you consult with somebody, there is an amazing 4-pack here that can take care of a lot of these different excitotoxic issues where the brain is getting to the point of anxiousness or depression.
Right. And that's addressing the neurotransmitter production and balance in the body, in the brain. Those 4 that you mentioned, wow, what that should be a kit right there, the brain kit, right? Calm Day and Sleep Time. They're sister formulas. They have the same basic formulation. The only difference between the two is Sleep Time adds a little bit more sleep component, which is the melatonin and the 5-HTP to help you to fall asleep. But both of them have the neurotransmitter stimulating nutrients that calm the racing mind. From GABA to L-theanine to taurine to some B vitamins. These are nutrients that will help calm the racing mind, because the biggest problem with sleep is not falling asleep, but staying asleep. What wakes you up? Your mind racing. You're thinking about everything. So whether it's falling asleep, which is melatonin, 5-HTP, whether it's staying asleep, which is the neurotransmitter support, Sleep Time, Calm Day work beautifully together. And, I just had someone ask me about Brain Boost this morning. And that formula, they said, well, if I'm taking Calm Day or Sleep Time, why would I want to take Brain Boost? And I said, well, what's the issue? Well, memory, cognitive function, things like that. Well, that's why you want Brain Boost. Why? Because it has the necessary fat, the phosphatidylcholine, phosphatidylserine, plus 2 amazing nutrients that have been sold by themselves for years, vinpocetine and huperzine. These are tried and true patented types of brain nutrients. So give the brain what it needs to function. And number 1 on the list, fat. Good fat.
Amen. Now, the next one on our list, as we come to the end here, is circulation deficits, where we start to lose our capability of getting circulation. What do we see here? Microcapillary perfusions of the blood, brain, eyes, skin. Cataracts, all-time high. Macular degeneration, all-time high. Glaucoma, all-time high. Major and mini strokes. And then all of the skin issues where we see this breakthrough bleeding that becomes an issue. Now, into this category, we get the omega HPD again. We get the SPMs again. But this time, Joe, we added CircuCore and neuropathies. 2 more that could be added to help with circulation and getting the body moving.
Exactly. CircuCore is probably the premier nitric oxide producing formula on the market for a very, very special reason. Of course, it has all the usual suspects. It has beetroot powder, arginine, citrulline. These are the 3 major components to help your body produce nitric oxide, because you cannot take it. It's a gas, and your body has to produce it. It produces it in the endothelial lining, primarily in the sinus, nasal passages, and then all throughout the lungs. So I guess you can think, if you link back over the last 3 years, you can see why we had such a problem. Okay, but the addition in this formula of Activin, which is a patented form of grapeseed extract, this is what takes this formula to a new level. Because as you're producing more nitric oxide, you want the integrity of that endothelial to be as strong as possible. And that's what grapeseed does. It improves the integrity, the strength of the capillaries, the endothelial, the lining of the whole entire blood vessel system in the body. So it doesn't just help you produce nitric oxide, it makes sure that the part of the body that produces it is as strong as ever.
And the last area that I want to talk about, and then I want one final comment here, digestive enzyme deficits. I go back to the point where the FDA, I think in my mind, made a big mistake allowing PPIs, the omeprazoles, Prilosec, Nexium. The day that those went over the counter, we saw a mass influx of digestive problems that came up. They allowed these to go over the counter to solve the problem. It actually created more of a problem, because what we did, we annihilated our body's capability of producing digestive enzymes. So again, with that problem, as we get older, our pancreas gets older. How many times do we know of somebody that just had a minor complication, a little bit of an issue, digestive pain on the right side? Let's take your gallbladder out. So again, 1/3 of your digestive capacity using bile goes away. We suppress all the acid in your stomach. There goes the other 1/3. We're now down to a great strain on the pancreas to produce some form of digestive support. So there's a lot in this category. And again, betazymes, love betazymes because they add the betaine to things to actually properly get the acid level in the stomach correct. Cybezymes, the new formula I want you to talk about, Joe, with Probezymes, the new adjunct that was put into that prep. And then my big favorite, GI Complete, which can be used across the board to settle down inflammation in the entire system.
Well, GI Complete should be the foundation formula because, again, it will repair and fortify the intestinal wall, the mucosal, so that, this term you hear all the time, leaky gut, irritable bowel, inflammatory bowel syndrome. They all can be traced back to the deterioration of the mucosa, the lining of the entire digestive tract. Nothing heals it better than GI Complete. The combination of 5 grams of glutamine along with the zinc carnosine in there is an amazing and fast healing capacity. But Probezyme, as Dr. Len said, this was Nutritional Frontier's very first product 15 years ago. And it lasted 15 years before we decided to improve it a little bit. And we did. And how did we improve it? Well, we improved it by adding actually 3 things. It's still a probiotic and a digestive enzyme in a chewable tablet. But now the probiotic is that lactospore that's in the Women's Complete, a patented research form of soil-based probiotics. The second thing that we did was we added an enzyme mix called Optizyome. This is also a patented enzyme mix because it has something in it called GD4, which enables the body to process and digest gluten. The one thing that everybody wants to stay away from, but nobody can, right? So that's in there now. And then the third thing is, you always get that one person that says, well, what about prebiotics? Well, it's in there. Something called inulin is a prebiotic which feeds the probiotic activity. So now you have the single most complete digestive formula in one chewable tablet, 3 great flavors, and it should be for the entire family.
Amen. Now, I'm just going to close out with a few closing ideas that we added to this presentation. One was the role of insulin. In my opinion, the average person really doesn't quite grasp it. We hear, we put a cap on insulin prices in this country and insulin's so expensive. And do I really want to be put on insulin? It is life-sustaining, but if it's not being watched properly and it goes too high at various times and the body starts overproduction where we get hyperinsulinemia, that's one of the biggest issues for the storage of fat. It's a pre-diabetic situation where the body actually puts on weight, and we start storing energy. So we get fatigued. We don't have the energy to go work out. And the problem escalates because even when we start cutting down on calories, we're still gaining weight. So close this out, Joe, with the 2 preps that I love that I put together. One is Glucolyze, but the other one that we added to this was Candy Kill because I love the berberine that's in there. Not only does most people, pre-diabetic or diabetic, tend to have extra candida present in the gut, but we can go in there with this berberine and actually accentuate what Glucolyze does to temper the role that insulin plays in the human body.
Well, Glucolyze, formerly known as Sugar Solve, has been a long-standing formulation, thanks to Dr. Len, but there's 2 things to it that make it so effective. Number one, cinnamon has been known for a long time to be very, very effective for helping you to maintain good blood sugar, good insulin levels. But it only works at a certain amount, at a certain level, which is where most of the formulas you might see out there with cinnamon fall short. But in Glucolyze, it has the amount that was used in the clinical trials, the studies that showed cinnamon had an effect, and that's 1,000 milligrams of cinnamon extract per day. Now, you get that in 4 capsules. So 2 with one meal, 2 with another, 500 milligrams each, and you'll get your 1,000 milligrams of cinnamon, and you'll get the effect from the clinical studies. The second is including, amongst other things, alpha-lipoic acid, things like that. But in my opinion, 2 trace minerals that play such a big role in insulin sensitivity, and that's chromium and vanadium. And the reason is this: chromium, especially, is kind of like the gatekeeper of the cell. When you eat food and your body turns it to glucose, you then make insulin to drive that glucose into the cell to be burned as energy. But that cell has to open up and accept it. And the gatekeeper to open the cell is this little trace mineral called chromium.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we are more people are chromium deficient, leading to insulin resistance, than eating too much sugar. And that's a bold statement. But we do illegal scans here all the time, and we see people are deficient in chromium and vanadium, and they wonder why they're having an insulin problem when they may not even be eating a lot of sugar. Well, that's why you're not allowing the body to get it, the insulin, to get the glucose into the cells. So that's number one. And then candy kill. Yeah, there's just so many people with excess candida, the sugar consumption in this country. Berberine is only one component of candy kill, along with every other nutrient that was ever used by itself for candida. Caprylic acid, grapefruit seed extract. I mean, the list goes on and on. But berberine actually mimics exactly what a diabetic drug does in your body. And you can do it without the drug and without the adverse effects. And that's metformin. So berberine is amazing at killing off candida, but also keeping insulin blood sugar levels intact. Many people use it by itself, and it's in that combination formula called Candy Kill.
I just want to finish up, Joe, with what I said are the essentials of health. What I say is if I'm just going to sit down and get 6 essential factors. Number 1, a frontier multiple of some sorts. Number 2, our omega HPD and or the SPMs. You can put those in there. Probiotics, probzymes, standardized frontier biotics, ultimate shake that I put into the top 6, buffered vitamin C and vitamin D3. If you get those, you got the essentials covered. And then you can use the rest as adjunct add-ons. And lastly, 7 principles to abide by. Number 1, do what you can to manage your emotions. Number 2, your body was built to move. Get up and move. Number 3, manage your stress the best you can. Number 4, eat in harmony with your system. Understand what you can and can't eat. Next, wash your hands and keep the toxins that might be coming into your body under control. Number 6, assimilate properly. Don't suppress the acid levels in your stomach. Try to do the best you can. And lastly, excrete timely. Bowel functionality is a critical factor. If you can follow those 7 principles to abide by, you can cut the risk factors of aging and keep yourself healthy, vibrant, and strong, and looking like Joe Messino all the time.
Okay, I don't know if you know this one or not, Len, but I know if I tell it to you and you don't already know it, you will add it to your presentations. There was a professional baseball player called Satchel Paige. Remember him? Some of you remember? Okay. Satchel Paige was ageless. Okay. And someone, they were talking to him about it. And his famous quote is this: how old would you be if you didn't know how old you were?
I love that. Hallelujah.
There you go. That's
all right,
it. Thanks,
Joe.
Dr. Len. Always a pleasure. The man, the gut guy, Dr. Len Brancewicz. Thanks, everybody.
Always fun, Joe. God bless you, man.
See you, buddy. All right, so we got 1:00. We got the demo coming up. Shake. The Smoothie King, Jamie Dorley himself's up there doing some shakes in the kitchen. So go on in and enjoy yourself. Go have some shakes and smoothies.